continuing our online arbitrage video series. We're going to finish it up this week, so I'm super excited about that, and I hope you find, the whole series really helpful. If you do, please thumbs up so I know that you liked it, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already.
Video we talked about return on investment and organization and kind of what online sourcing is and why you would use it. Some things that I look for, the 3 times rule. Today, though, or this video, I really want to get into good product selection. Like, how do you know if a product is good? There's limitless products out there. You just feel like you could be sourcing and searching forever. So it's important to have some guidelines for yourself before you move forward with making any purchases, really. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that I consider when making online purchases. And that's what I'm going to focus on in this video. First thing I look for is quantity, which we already kind of discussed, because I like to set up purchasing limits on items that I'm buying so I don't end up with way too much of any one item. I talked about not going too deep in any one product or in any one category, wide versus deep. So I like to cast my net out on many items and spread my risk over many items. Choosing 1 or 2 items and getting really large amounts in hopes that they will do well, I like to, get several items and spread my risk. Think kind of going 1 mile wide and only like an inch deep. Easy to go deep, but you should go wide first. We talked about that. Once you're comfortable with the product and you know that it's going to perform well for you, then go deep, because it takes time to sell deep loads. So you want to make sure that, yeah, this is going to perform well for me before you start, purchasing it. So I like to start with 2 to 10 items. No matter how large your budget is, you still want to go wide first. That way, if you have any dud items, which you will, then your budget, your business, it's still going to be okay, and you can recover because you didn't go too deep. If you do go deep, be willing to wait out your competition, because sometimes you do decide to go deep because of some factor that makes the risk worth it. I kind of have a tendency to do this at liquidation stores, or some other reasons that you might go deep would be because the price on the product is going to go higher. You just have an instinct, or maybe there's some reason why in the future that you know about that you would expect the product price to increase, or that you can never buy the product again at the same low price, which is what I run into with the liquidation. So going wide means that you are sourcing, these normal products and looking for faster returns. They are normally just regular priced items or clearance items at a big box retailer, rather than, say, the liquidation or like the auctions that you've seen me at. There are 2 very different paths when looking at products. Neither is right or wrong. They're just different and they have different considerations. So when you're looking at these, you would look at the angles, decide on the risk that you're willing to take. And one of them is a one-time buy. And that's normally your clearance section, your special sales like Black Friday, or you see me go like after Christmas sales. And your main objective here is really just to get in, get out, sell the item as quickly as you can, and make a profit. The other way is really if you want to buy the entire stock of the store's product, then you would plan on more of a long-term hold. You're not looking to get in and out quickly. You may have to wait other buyers out in order to dominate the market, to have the only items left over. Like at a liquidation store, you have like the only thing out there. Your competition is kind of faded out because they've sold their product, and now you can dominate the market. So when you are retail arbitraging, if you're in a clearance section or a liquidation store or an auction or a thrift store, then you're most likely finding a one-time buy, because you just have what is there, what is present. You're not going to be able to come back next week maybe and get that same thing. In comparison, if you're looking at just a regular item that you would expect to find week after week after week, it's regular price, it's not in the clearance section, you can, find those and purchase those over and over again, making them a replenishable, something that you can replenish, you can go back and buy again and again. So you can see where they're very different, and I really use a combination of both. So an example of a long-term hold would be 1 year. It was a Monster Inc. toy, and I paid $5 for it, and it took me, I think, 10 months to sell through the product. I knew it was a popular toy at the time. Monster Inc. was, really in. So when I made the purchase, I knew it was popular. The current price on Amazon was $12. I bought over 50 of these toys. Felt that the price would go up. The risk, but we were going into fourth quarter. They were popular. So I just felt that when other sellers would run out of their stock, I could really dominate the market. Sure enough, at Christmas time, those same toys that were selling for $12 ended up selling for $35 a piece. I ended up sending them all to the FBA warehouse, and I ended up making over $2,000 in sales revenue on, a little over a $300 investment. I know a lot of people are afraid of long-term storage fees. I don't like them either, but in the big picture, sometimes they're really not that bad. You would have to pay to store your inventory in a mom and pop store, a storefront, a storage unit, a warehouse. So really, they're not that bad. So an example of a replenishable, buying a regular price item from a regular store. So with this model, you can buy and sell and repeat. It's just kind of like a normal sell. And one time I purchased these popular K-Cup flavors, which I love K-Cups. I found them at Target, and they were about $9. The profit would have been about $5 each, which I don't normally go for unless I can find, in larger quantities or there's some other factor. So I thought through the sell, and I realized that I could sell probably 10 in a month. I calculated the rank and the number that should sell within the time frame, and I thought, I can make an extra $50 every month that I carry these products. Each $50 of sales adds up, and if you put it over several products and all the variations that you can do with those products, it can really produce, hundreds, even thousands of dollars to, whatever other inventory that you already have going on. When I'm sourcing online, there are certain types of products that I don't like to mess with. Your list might be different than mine. Oh, I don't like glass items because there's just such a high rate of return. Amazon makes you do that 3-foot drop rule. You have to bubble wrap it, double box. It takes time. It takes money. I just don't like them. So unless they're super awesome in some other way, I don't typically buy them. Heavy items, most everyone knows that not to get into the heavy items because the inbound shipping costs, and the weight fees really can take a heavy hit on your product. Not to mention your box to Amazon has to be under a certain weight restriction, or you have to have special stickers and everything on your box. Grocery items. You have to have a plan. I love grocery items, but you have to have a plan if they're expiring soon. So you have to watch those expiration dates. You don't order too many. You really want to kind of know the return policy if you are ordering them online. I really like to see my grocery items, so I typically don't do a lot of that online. Beauty items. Kind of the same thing with the expiration dates. You don't really know until you get it. Large items with openings in their packaging. You've seen it. You have the big toy that's kind of like half covered in the box, and then there's all these buttons that you can push and, shows you the sounds and the lights and everything. So each one of those has to be in a poly bag, which is okay if the return on investment and everything is worth it. But you have to pay for poly bags, and it takes time, to make sure that you poly bag them and prep them properly and tape them up. So, I like to be mindful of how large they are. Do they have to be poly bagged? If it's liquid, that has its own set of requirements. So, you kind of want to think through the products that you want to avoid and even have a list. So in addition to the return on investment that we expect and the quantity that we're setting limits to and how many items we expect to find in an hour, these are all things we're talking about, right? We also want to have that list of what we're going to avoid. Now the biggie, the one that you're all probably waiting for me to talk about, is the ranks and the categories, because that's kind of the biggest consideration when you're sourcing. Rank is really important because it tells you how fast you can expect to get your money back. You know, how fast is a product moving? Closer to 1 means like the #1 spot means that it's selling the best. Anything over 100,000 as a general rule, I, kind of give pause to. Anything under 50,000, I know should sell pretty fast. I told you my general rules with the 100,000 and the 50,000. Take a few categories to be more specific, like arts and crafts, for example. My sister loves that category and she's very knowledgeable about it. So she's willing to take on more risk than I am. I'm pretty low with arts and crafts. I like to be around 10,000. Baby can be a slow moving category, but I've also had great success in it. So I'm probably under the 50,000 mark in baby. Beauty, I really like beauty a lot. It's a restricted category, but I'm ungated in that. So that I'm willing to go a little over my 100,000, maybe 120,000 because I like it and it's a good selling category. Grocery, kind of the same thing. You need approval. I really like it a lot. You've seen me do some Publix strips for the buy one, get one free. So I like grocery a lot. So I'm probably right around the 100,000 mark on grocery, but because of the expiration dates, I really prefer to be around 75,000. Health and personal care, love it. So I will kind of push it past that 100,000 mark on personal care. I still probably would keep it under 150,000. Office, kind of like baby. I've had some good success with office, but it's kind of sporadic. Like I'll sell a lot and then I won't sell anything. So I keep it pretty low with office too, probably under 30K. Sports and outdoors, love sports and outdoors. There's a lot of competition though in it. So I find that I'm around 50,000 in that category. Tools and home improvement. I like to stay kind of low in that because again, I don't know much about that category. Try to stay lower. Toys and games, who doesn't love this category, especially in fourth quarter? It's awesome. I will go pretty high with that category as well and do about 150,000. You'll have to test it out and find your own comfort zones.
Guys, that's it. I hope it was helpful to you. I look forward to seeing you next video. Look forward to chatting with you over on the Amazon 360 Facebook group. And I will talk to you next video. Bye, guys.